Welcome everyone to Driven for Health podcast episode number 73. And I'm speaking with Andy Grant from Real Men Feel. And I actually was a guest on his podcast a couple months ago. I saw what he talked about. I identified it, just me as a male in my 40s, as some of the concepts and ideas that we're going to share today. So we had a really wonderful conversation then, and I can link to that conversation in our show notes. But I wanted to bring him on to talk about men's health, talk about how real men feel. Welcome, Andy, to our conversation today. Let's jump right in. Yeah, definitely. And we talked about this in opening sentence to start our conversation off. For the guys that are hearing you from the first time, what do you think most men are dealing with but won't admit it out loud to themselves or other people around them? Right. Yeah. Right. 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 Right, totally. I can attest to it. I am fine, but if I were get around my close friends, then out comes more of the challenges, the experiences, the day to day things that I am feeling that I have to manage and navigate through. And that's one of the real reasons why I wanted to have you on to expose the guys listening into the show. Cool thing, I've been doing this podcast since September 23rd. I just passed 3,000 streams and downloads. I had 400 streams last week, and it just keeps going up. So when guys are starting to listen, they're starting to follow, and being able to be exposed to actual men having real conversations beyond, obviously, my focus is health, fitness, nutrition, but that's also a mask. If someone's 20 pounds overweight, they're wearing their feelings, they're wearing their stress, they are challenged in a way that they don't know how to navigate or don't have the skill sets around to be able to keep the weight off and not have to worry about that one particular piece because that will slow them down in a sense. Now, when you say real men feel, what does that actually mean in plain English? And what do men do instead of actual feel? Yes. Yes. Okay. Right. 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 And the full range. I think I remember listening to a gentleman who talks about the vocals and communication and it being a piano. His name is Ask Vin. If you want to go find him on YouTube, he's very popular and I really enjoy his stuff. But he talked about the voice or the communication being a range of the piano from way down here to way up here. And that is the same thing with our emotions, right? And a lot of guys are just playing doom, 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 and that's their tune, and they just have this daily grind. Right, 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 right. Right. Yeah. Mm, yes. Right. Yeah. Right, right. And what was one or two different emotions that you see most guys having, displayed with I mean, you've been doing Real Men Feel for what, over 10 years now. Well, what's that one tune that they keep playing? Okay. Okay. Right, 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 right. Do men have that type of support or those opportunities and they just aren't aware of it? Or do a lot of guys just literally not have those opportunities for them? Yes. Right. Right. Right, right. There's not opportunities to express yourself. There's not opportunities to be able to seek out further support or whatever that is defined as. And then also the future outlook doesn't change either. You still banging against the wood cover and not actually able to express yourself to see what tunes could be played on the piano keys. Well, we'll run with that theme the whole conversation is really good. All right. What got Real Men Feel started for you, Andy, so we can understand some of the zest, the passion that you have for everything that you're saying today. Mhm. Right, 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 right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I found you at episode 300 or something, and so where are you at now? Because you've been doing it for a podcast. How many episodes are you deep now? Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, that's awesome, and we're gonna talk about some of the actual stories, the challenges, and what comes of the guys that you, talk to every day or join your group, Authentic AF, and we'll certainly talk about that. So let's actually shift. What are some of the challenges, or how do you see men handling middle life? Right, right, right. Right. Mhm. Right. Very much so. Right. Yes, very much so. Right. 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 Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Right. You can identify with that, right? Right. I will say I myself am feeling that. I guess that's one reason why I even started this podcast. I started the Call to Rise men's program. Is the very first pillar out of the five is identity. It's the call. It's who you see yourself as, and when there's a discrepancy there, there's friction, and then that friction can turn into a lot of things. Not enough oil in the car creates a lot of friction, creates engine seizure, and that then creates a very complicated, expensive repair or replacement. And same thing with guys. That midlife crisis is a built up of friction that hasn't been lubricated or let off or released, and then they are up 30 pounds. They're dealing with chronic illness. Their marriage or their relationships are broken or in despair on some level. And there's lots of other things. But I myself will feel that too. I strongly identify as, say, an athlete. I strongly identify as a leader in this space. And I do identify as a parent and as a husband, but I identify to the provider more than okay, so I have a family, but now I have to provide for the family, so I'm going to work, 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 work in a sense. I'm gonna make another podcast, or I'm gonna send another email, put another social media post, and that's also what I'm starting to do is fill my time with that. Now, we'll take a time out. I spent at least 4 to 5 hours yesterday with 2 of my younger kids at a morning performance and an evening band performance. So I'm still all in on family, and I go to tomorrow, will be another 5-hour swim meet that I will be sitting at the middle of the day for my older 2 sons, and so I'm very much in it, but I can see this line of, all right, if nothing over here, say my family or kids or any actions happening there or entertainment, then I'm just gonna fill my time with more work. And that is a challenge that's creating friction in my life right now. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Ooh. Right. 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 Well, yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, this is good. I'm getting chills. Good energy over here. It's a good reminder to hear these things that especially with our fast paced world, being an entrepreneur, solopreneur, I feel things are speeding up quick and I'm trying to hold on. I'm like, holy moly, like what's happening? And so there becomes this loss of identity. And then you pile that on of not taking care of yourself in a wide variety of different aspects, from your health to your body weight to sleeping enough or not doing alcohol or sugar or any other addictive behaviors. Then like it compounds. This is a big challenge for a lot of guys, and I think that's probably where us to meet in our commonality, subtly different approaches, but the same outcome of improving a man's life so that he can then be that provider for those people around him. And I don't have to wear a mask of saying I got it all figured out, but I can be open and honest and share these stories through the podcast or through my men's group of these flaws, these challenges that I have as a human being. Because even that aspect of the 80-year-old and his father, like, my dad hasn't been an active role in my life for since college. I'm 43, so do some quick math. It's been basically 2 decades. I've seen him two, maybe three times, and it's not been any sort of depth or conversation, and therefore I've got a gap, and that's taught me things around how to treat and interact and engage with my kids, like showing up and being there for them at basically every event they've ever been to, and then sacrificing of staying up late to make sure I check off the boxes I need to in the business. But there's a gap there, and I need to find very productive ways to make sure that I'm filling it and not just falling into provider role, and I gotta work to put money in the bank to be able to pay the bills and feed and whatever else are going on. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Right. 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 Mm. Mhm. Yeah, and that right there is just a change in perspective on owning the fact that life is always changing. And I always tell people that too. That's I had a podcast yesterday with someone, and the last line of the thing, what advice will you give someone? And the advice was is that you have to be accepting that life is changing every single day. And you have to be agile, lean, adjustable, and bend and twist with the challenges that come up and be able to have active solutions. And if you don't, then you need to problem solve and troubleshoot to gain the skills or the abilities or whatever it is to be able to accept the change and manage it in a way that is still fruitful for you and still productive for you and healthy for you and those around you as well. Yeah. Right. Mhm. Right. Right. And I think that last word is the key thing, is grow. I know, going for your opinion, what is the most used emotion that you see men using, whether it's anger, frustration, happiness? What do you see happening regularly that we can all take to grow from and get better with? Yeah. Right. 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 Separate it. Right. Right. Yeah, okay. Right. Right, right. Speaking of that, do you how many people do you see are bringing things from the past and they just keep carrying it with them, playing back that old tune or record in a sense in their head from those situations? Does that happen a lot for the guys that you talk with and see? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. 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 Mhm. Yeah, being adapted. Now, is there a story or a person that you have in your mind that when you think of this transition outside of yourself, you've been sharing about yourself, which is awesome. But are there someone who comes to you, Andy? I need to be able to play the piano and of life and the emotions and the experiences that I have from most guys are going to identify with feeling broken or useless or that to having that full range and being adept to be aware. Do you have someone or a story that comes to mind around that transformation? Yeah, sure. Right, like, "Hey, you made it. You got the money in the bank. You're ready to retire, live the high life," right? Right, right. Okay. Yeah. That's that's awesome. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's huge to see that shift and change. I recently last year had someone lose 50 pounds and decide that they were going to leave upstate New York to move down to Myrtle Beach a little ways away to get into a better situation, a better environment, be closer to their grandchild, to they had the confidence, the energy, the ability to overcome the challenges that kept them stuck in New York with a career. They had a career, 15 plus years in this office, and quit that and found another job down there. And there's so many challenges that they would overcome through that confidence of losing the weight and having energy. So I think you and I probably are those are our drugs to or what we're hooked on is seeing those milestone transformations to help get someone unstuck and get them actually doing something with themselves, their life. And I know that's a big reason why I do what I do for sure. Right. Right. Yeah. Yep. Right. 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 No, I agree with that wholeheartedly 'cause, I've seen people do that, like, literally, another guy, Jay, he lost 100 over 100 pounds, and, his wife was just hanging out with us. She lost 40, and so between them, they lost 150 pounds in their relationship, and they ended up with a baby. I said, "Jay, could you not keep your hands off her, or she not keep her hands off you. Like, what's going on over there?" And we are laughing. And this was over a course of probably 18 months. But he ended up quitting his job and going out on his own as well because of that confidence, that energy, that ability to just step out from what he perceives as what where he's at now to what he needs to do or has to do now because of the change. Not even had that's not even a good way to do it, but what he wants to do. There you go. What he wants to do moving forward and not just stay in this job because that's what he's been doing for X amount of time or whatever. That's where his skill set is. Yes. Yes. 1,000%. Let's move into authentic AF. What is it? What is it about? How do you help guys? I can just sit and be still. Right. Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah, we know what that is. Yeah. Ah, oh, nice. Nice. That's awesome. So you're bringing your energy, even past from really positive things from the past. It's your stamp on it, but also we know what AF means too is like let's actually change. So okay, where do people find this real quick? That's I know it's a school group. Yeah, yeah, perfect. Excellent. Yep. I've been in there and you're always posting and engaging with people, which is good. And you have it open. Now, what else do you do? So that's not the only thing you do, right? So what are other things that you do to help guys transition from some of the lack of expression or even knowing where to go to get them to open up, to take off the mask, to be more themselves? Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, right. It's just no other reason not to. Yeah. Uh, Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Yes. Yep. Right. Being open, being honest with yourself, most importantly, and then the people around you, and forming new relationships. I will say there's 4 guys that I have in my circle, 2 of them from high school, another one, so that's Dan and Leo. We ran together in high school, and I still get stupid gifts from Leo or reels or whatever. We just horse around and whatever. Um, Dan is he's I see him like almost like twice a week now. We work out together. Chris is another friend that I work out with, and he's known me basically my whole career, so last 20 years. And in the last say 3 years, we connected, and he'll come over and work out with me. All 3 of us have 4 kids. So we're in good company, and we understand the challenge and the busyness and the things that we need to overcome, so it's a great place. And then Andy is another one, a middle school dad that is doing really cool big things, and he's got 3 kids, and it's just the life is lifing, and it's an easy way to express ourselves through exercise, and that's the identity that I do or I bring to the table. And even the Call to Rise program is 100 days to get your body back in shape, nutrition, fitness, exercise. And I tell everyone, Mike, there's a gentleman that actually I know from he knew me from the beginning of my career. He just joined and he had his first roundtable conversation with us last night. And I said, Mike, you're going to be joining a bunch of other Mikes, a bunch of other driven guys that don't have their health figured out. And we're going to go through figuring out ways so that you are equipped and understand how to manage what you put in your mouth, the all the challenges else as well, so that you can get into a healthy body and not have to worry about this anymore. The physical aspect of it, because life is plenty hard enough otherwise as it is and throws its challenges at us. So oh, that's awesome. Yeah, our pre-conversation, you came on because you're about to go to the Viking event, and you had your paint on and costume, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And then I've gotten to know you and seen you through social media and different things. Tell me about uh, the Halloween, the you dressing up, talk about that because that's just another exposure, and I literally watched you do it and pose, and you'd get all decorated as a zombie and go out and do that, and I was like, "Wow, this would actually be really fun." And maybe that's something I can challenge myself next Halloween is to go get a job and just go be just hang out in the haunted forest, and we're like, "Ah!" And I would just have a blast, and it would lighten me up a little bit. Yeah, yeah, we do. Awesome. That's awesome. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah. Right. That's awesome. I will highly consider doing it in October. It's awesome. Awesome. All right, excellent. Well, let's wrap up. Andy, let's leave the guy listening in that has been impacted. He's made it this far in the conversation. What is one thing you would tell them that would help shift their trajectory, the challenge, the stuckness that they might be feeling, or the one note, or even there is no keyboard, they don't see the keys to play. What would you tell them? Yeah, right, 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 right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, they just don't exist until you start to open your eyes and then you start seeing. That's excellent. Well, Andy, it's been a pleasure to be on your podcast, to have you on mine, to see you. You're literally one of the first reels that I see on TikTok all the time. So I always give you a heart. It's the easy, it's like boom, support this guy to keep doing really good things. We need to send people to the Authentic AF school group to connect with you, to Real Men Feel podcast. You can listen to that literally today. There's almost 400 episodes, and there's a wealth of knowledge and experience and stories from your guests that have been on as well. So I really appreciate you coming on. Is there any other place or things you'd like to tell them to have them go? That's great. And you're worthy. And that's what we're going to close out Driven for Health podcast episode 73. Thank you so much for coming. Check Andy out. Go listen to him. Go join this school group. And links will be in the show notes. And off we go. Thanks so much. All right. Oh, so good. That hits. That was really good. Appreciate it. Spoke to me too. So, which is excellent. Yes, I better be right to make sure that it is connecting with people. Let me finish closing everything out.